Abusia for ha Ghanatube from Dofo Snowy, my science what na CBO me and sem. Ahudu a ekoso e with the four corners of Ghana bro enti manya aja akonye say the nebusa phone say ensem no so makwakwabo abo ebi ano de bro enti entempa no ye ba kotie ensem ahudu obi a ekoso e wo my Ghana mu na yaba.
Electoral Commission's decision to rule out an immediate rerun of the Ablekuma North parliamentary election has sparked debates over electoral transparency, legitimacy, and political stability. Now, as stakeholders weigh the implications of this ruling, questions arise about the integrity of Ghana's electoral processes and the mechanisms available for resolving disputes. And I hope that in that short time that we have, some 11 minutes or so, we can examine the political and institutional dimensions of the EC's decision. Doc, I only have about 2 minutes to give you, but I do want you to wade into the matter. The EC has ruled out an immediate rerun, and with the two sides, the NDC and the NPP, still going back and forth, how do we resolve this issue once and for all? Ablekuma North constituents are without an NP, and we know what that conversation, brings about, what that conversation sparks when we leave constituencies without representation.
Yeah, so, Helen, for me, Ablekuma North and South, decisions coming out of Ablekuma and South are very unfortunate, very much unfortunate. For me, it speaks or it sets certain bad precedents, within our democracy. Again, it is an affront to the kind of democracy that we are developing. I want to believe that if South was bad, Ablekuma is equally bad. I want to also state that, we should give democracy, the free will to move. All right? And when you look at the positions of both NDC and MPP, it probably begs the question as to whether we need to conduct the whole exercise again. All right. I wouldn't say that it is unfortunate regarding the position of Dr. Bosman. That rerun is impossible. What is impossible under the sun? The explanation he gave is that from where we have come to where we are now, several attempts, to continue with the coalition exercise have not materialized. Again, High Court rulings, have also not been implemented. And you still insist that, okay, let's go on to, let's continue with the process with regards to just 3 polling stations. That's fine. You see, from where I sit, what he is trying to explain is that probably when we don't continue, to bring the 3 polling station results, right? Maybe another kind of precedent will be set where maybe, I've heard people discussing this, and that is why I am putting it in, that when it is not allowed to continue, a precedent will be set whereby in future elections, results will be taken off by a certain political party who probably sees that we are losing, okay, bend the results, and then the next time is that we should go and rerun. You understand? Again, you see, if you are EC boss and you don't think outside the box, and then you sit down for some of these things to happen, then for me it is quite unfortunate. My reason is this: technology has emerged and it has advanced. All right, so you could have, at the polling station, quickly find, a kind of innovative, measures where the moment where, results are declared, it gets into the EC national system, so that we don't even struggle with some of these things.
Right.
All right. Now, you realize in 2024...
And just another minute for me or less, please.
Yes. The two major political parties had a more advanced, election systems, more than the EC itself. And I was wondering why. You understand? Now, so for me, I think that part of the problem is coming from the EC. And so for now, they should look out for a more strategic means of dealing with this particular issue.
All right, and in the absence of that, just one question, yes or no, to rerun or not to rerun?
Yes, for me, rerun would do.
Rerun. All right, Andrew, to rerun or not to rerun?
At least for the 3 police stations, yes. I think that's they should rerun, because at the end of the day, if the IC say that no rerun, then he should, the IC should tell us, because we can't have a repetition of the SAL issue. It goes against everything that our democracy stands for. We can't afford to have a situation where even just a single Ghanaian is without representation at the house of democracy. That's what I tend to call parliament. You understand? So for me, if it's just 3 police stations, that's the reason for which the EC is unable to declare. And if the EC think that they can't do anything about those 3 police stations, I think common sense ought to dictate.
What about those who say we should do for all the 60 plus, I believe 62 police stations? Should we rerun for all the police stations?
No, because I don't think there's for the 59 police stations there's any contention as to the veracity or not of the results there. It's just 3 police stations.
That's right.
You understand? And so at least for those 3 police stations, I think that there ought to be a rerun, so that this matter is put toward the bed. Then our compatriots in Ablekuma North can also have their voices heard in Parliament. We can't have a repetition of SAL.
Lawyer DG, you're right on this one.
I think that listening to the two, I see a sense that maybe not properly briefed on the issue.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago, the Electoral Commission called the political parties, myself as the Director Legal of the party, with my Deputy General Secretary, Barbara Sawa, my senior brother, Tanko Computer, Madi, were the ones that represented NDC.
Okay.
The MPP had Evans Nimakun and Honorable Ebenezer Nati, the former MP, on the way forward, on agreeing on a roadmap. And we gave an indication to them that the Electoral Commission is not putting the narrative out clearly. What is the issue? Ablekuma North has a certain number of polling stations. After the election, there were contention about 62 of the polling stations. 62. Of that 62, we brought what we call carbonated copies. Carbonated copy, 54. The MPP brought carbonated copy of 25. The EC agreed to accept ours. By accepting ours, it will leave 62 without carbonated copies. The MPP managed and brought 25 carbonated copies. So at the meeting, I said, look, under the circumstance, we were initially pushing for a rerun in the 62 police stations.
Where there are contentions.
Where there are contentions. Then Madame Jane Mensah said, okay, since they have accepted our 54 carbonated copies, in fairness, we should accept the MPP's 25 carbonated copies. I said, no. I mean, for the sake of fairness, why not? Now, it will be left with 37. The MPP presented scanned copies.
Of those 37.
Of those 37. Then we said, no, we can't accept scanned copies. Because per the CI governing the election, you are not supposed to use scanned copies. Then they said, oh, they are pulling, presiding officers have validated those scanned copies. We said, no. On live television, including TV3, the presiding officers came and some said, I didn't know who signed this. And so we said already, it raises credibility about those scanned copies. So we can come to a compromise position that let's go and even do the rerun in the 37 polling stations, which is contentious. The EC and the MPP said, no, we should just do it in 3 polling stations. And those 3 polling stations are the typical bantamers in Ablekuma North. So we said, it would be against good conscience for the Electoral Commission to go and conduct the rerun or to collate. In fact, the EC even said they will only do collation of the 3. We said, no, let's go back to the 37. And our approach is simple, that we need an approach that factors the interests of the electorates. Because we political leaders cannot sit in that room and take a decision that would disenfranchise about 37 polling stations, where the validity of the results, because they are scanned copies, you cannot vouch for it. So our position to the Electoral Commission, which was our proposal, in fact, I gave that proposal together with my my Deputy General Secretary, Lawyer Barbara, and the Madi and Tanko Computer. When we raised the issue, we said this is our proposal in terms of way forward. Then the MPP, through my brother Ivan Slimaku, gave a counter proposal. The EC said they will call us back so that we will see between the two what decision the commissioners have taken. The next time I saw Dr. Bosman in Parliament saying ABC. I said, like, where from this? You
didn't know that he was going to be answering some questions on the floor of Parliament?
Because we had agreed at the EC. We brought a proposal, the MPP brought a counter proposal, and the expectation is that they will call the 2 parties to meet. And then they will now inform us that having studied the 2 proposals, this is what the commissioners think should be the way forward. That's our expectation. Only to see him on the floor of Parliament. So I was taken aback. I said, no, Doc, this is not what we agreed. That is your view. A view we strongly said no. It didn't make sense that you, the commissioners, together with the political party, can agree that it didn't matter what happened in 37 of the polling stations. We should limit the conversation to only 3. And in fact, I remember saying before the commissioners that, look, these 3 are the typical MPP strongholds in the constituency. And so agreeing that we should go and have it or collate the results in only these 3 is as good as saying that declare the MPP the winners. And so for fairness, limit the election to 37 polling stations out of over 200. Once we go through that, the electorates in that place have been part of the solution to the problem. This is what we propose to the Electoral Commission. Only to see them, Dr. Bosman in Parliament. How do you resolve the issue of the scanned copies?
I think that the 62, the rerun of the 62 will be better.
Exactly. There was even a compromise position. So we said, look, since you have the carbonated for 25, we'll concede because we brought carbonated for 54 for fairness. So as for 37, and the 37, guess what? It's made up of 13,000 voters. That alone can decide a significant number. So let's go and have the election in the 37 rerun. Why? We are not afraid. And I'm not sure the MPP is afraid that we should go and have a rerun in 37.
You think it's a matter of fear?
I think so. I mean, 13,000, anything. And I mean,
can happen.
You know, well, but that's why we want fairness. We are saying that for fairness sake, let's go and have the rerun. We'll go back and campaign in those 37 polling stations. Who knows? The good thing John Mahama has done
the so far. The twinkle in Lawyer Edu's eyes. You know. Gentlemen, thank you so much for another impactful
so I think
morning.
This position by the Electoral Commission to limit the conversation to the 3 will not augur well with our democratic, you know, whatever.
Eduji, thank you so much for your thoughts, and gentlemen, thank you as well.
Ghanatube, so hit me at the comment section for commenting na ebre me na menjebre enkinkai emfamamo answer na mesere musimikai will say Ghanatube, so one subscribe ya mema win free subscribe na face me notification bell no for quick updates ebusia for sisi ade makram.